like to talk about the Bud Light controversy, and let's begin by asking, who are the kind of people who drink a lot of beer? Well, first of all, it's bikers. Bike Week in Sturgis, they all show up, it's like a big party. They drink a lot of beer. People who watch sports, football, time to drink some beer, eat some chips. Frat boys drink a lot of beer. So this is the beer drinking audience. And these are the people who consume beer in, well, let's just say extraordinary quantities. I happened to go, by the way, to one of those drinking schools, Dartmouth, which was famous for, well, Dartmouth was the, apparently the venue of the movie Animal House, if you can remember that far back. But here's Bud Light coming out with a new kind of promotional campaign, and leading it is one of these transgender guys, Dylan Mulvaney. And apparently Bud Light created a unique Dylan Mulvaney beer can. In other words, this guy, or whatever it is on the beer can. So think of it. Is this something that the beer drinking audience is going to warm to? It's almost like, what were these Bud Light guys, a promotional team? Like, did they drink like 85 beers before they came up with this campaign? It turns out that there was an apparent strategy behind it. And there was the vice president of marketing for Bud, a woman named Alyssa Heenerscheid. And she goes, oh yeah, the old Bud Light was out of touch. And it needed a new makeover. And so she decided to give it a woke makeover. She goes, like we need to evolve and elevate this incredibly iconic brand. She goes on to say, it means inclusivity. It means shifting the tone. It means having a campaign that's truly inclusive and feels lighter and brighter and appeals to women and to men. So she evidently thought that the transgender chic is the way to go. It's almost like a company driving away all its kind of base of customers to find some fictitious new customers that it hasn't been able to acquire yet. It's not clear it will acquire at all. Now, there was tremendous backlash to all this. And in fact, a lot of conservatives, notably Matt Walsh, saying, let's organize a boycott of these guys. Let's just stop drinking Bud Light. Now, I don't know if it was the conservative campaign or if it was simply the fact that there is something really off-putting about getting transgender propaganda even on your beer can. And anyway, Bud Light sales basically just plummeted. Across the Midwest, across the South, Americans just, the Bud, in fact, I saw a video of a guy, he's a Bud sort of distributor. He doesn't work for Bud Light, but he makes money by bringing Bud Light into the stores. He's kind of the middleman between Bud Light and the Walmarts and of the world. And he goes, at this rate, I'm going to be put out of business because all the Bud Lights I brought to Walmart are still there. No one's buying them. Its sales have essentially stopped. And apparently Bud Light knows this. How do I know that? Because the market value of Bud Light has plummeted like $6 billion. So they've taken a huge hit. I mean, the value of all the shares was something like 130 billion, and now it's dropped to like 122 or one. Here we go. I have the numbers here, from 132 billion to 125 billion. That's a pretty big hit to take in a relatively short amount of time. So the shareholders are angry. The company is not doing all that well. And so Bud Light is now, well, they're kind of backtracking. It's like some guy who had too much beer now trying to stand up. And they've released evidently a new patriotic ad. First of all, they tried to deny the Dylan Mulvaney thing. They're like, well, no. We weren't planning on selling beer with this guy's face on it. We just made it because he's like one of the many influencers we thought can help us to promote the product. But now they've decided to reevaluate that, put all that on hold, and they released a patriotic ad. What is it? Well, remember the old Bud ads of the Clydesdale horses traveling, and they typically release the ad around Christmas time. Well, they've now released it in which the horses are traveling from New York City all the way to the Grand Canyon, and they go across scenes of the heartland. They pass the Lincoln Memorial, small towns, farmland. At one point, you see two people raising an American flag. And the voiceover goes, this is a story bigger than beer. This is a story of the American spirit. So you can see that Bud Light is I won't say trying to do penance. In fact, the CEO released a rather weird statement in which he didn't really apologize for what he did. It was just one of those non-committal statements. But in his actions here with the new ad, you can see that Bud Light is trying to make sure that they don't antagonize even more of their customer base.